Peace. Peace, peace, peace. You are now tuned in to Time News Network. Just want to say, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure you comment it. Hit the bell on the side of the subscribe button. Make sure you get alerted every time I upload a video. So I'm new to this YouTuber thing, so bear with me as I go along. I'm sure things will get more advanced, but I wanted to do a video focused on Orlando Jones, the comedian Orlando Jones. He's been around for quite some time. Had a movie with Eddie Griffin some years back, and he's done a couple of more things. Funny brother, but as later on in his career, he started doing more serious roles. But right now, the news is a couple of weeks ago, he got axed from the show American Gods. Now, I love this show, and I'm quite sure a lot of people don't watch that story. Well, I ain't gonna say a lot of people don't watch it, but some people probably might not know what this show is, because the show is deep and it requires you to think. Well, for me, I don't watch everything for entertainment purposes. I watch things to dissect. Some people may say I think too deep, but it is what it is. Anyway, I don't mean to digress. So during the show, during the period of the show, during his time frame on the show, he did a lot of monologues on the show. One monologue he did, he was in the bottom of the ship, and he gave a speech to the slaves in the bottom of the ship that was amazing. The speech was amazing. If you ever have time to make sure you go look that speech up so you can see what I'm talking about. And then he did another monologue talking about the suffering of black people, and he made a reference to the NFL, and he made a reference to sex trafficking, and he made a reference to slavery and sex trafficking and how they relate to each other. And in an interview with TMZ, and I think he did a couple more interviews, he spoke on how he felt that he was cut or axed from the show because of the simple fact that a character like the god Nancy was a little bit too militant, or giving black folks a militant aspect, and that wasn't good for a so-called Negro to see on TV, because for so many years we seen ourselves in a specific way or in a specific manner on TV. And here, as of recently, the dynamic has been changing, so to speak, but it's still the same old roles, butler, slave, mammy, it ain't changed much. But to have him play such a monumental role on a show called American Gods, where he played a black god, you know what I mean? Then you also had an Egyptian goddess, but I don't really like her character and the role she plays. They have her as some kind of incubus spirit, some kind of sexual god that suck in people's souls through her vagina. But that's another topic for another day. My thing is this. My thoughts on this is we can't get upset about the brother being fired, because we know who control Hollywood. Hollyweird. Excuse me. Man, I hate this. We know who in charge of Hollywood. The problem is we got to look at it like a win, even though it's not a win per se, but it's a win because we got a chance to see a black man play a American god, so to speak, on a television show. And whether it motivated us then, I'm sure it motivated some of us, but you know what I'm saying, we got a chance to see ourselves in a different light. You know what I'm saying? And it's a start. Should the brother have been fired? Man, we all know that man shouldn't have been fired. And I think most of the episodes where he had those speeches in, those 2 episodes, he did some directing and writing in those episodes as well. So he was given a chance to write and direct during his time on the show. So I just want to say I commend the brother. You know what I mean? His speeches were, to me, awesome. You know what I mean? They touched me. You know what I mean? And then they made me see things differently. They made me understand what his role was on the show. Because sometimes in life you just play a role for a moment. You know what I mean? You play a role for a moment until it's time to move on something better and bigger for you to play a bigger role. So, I like I said, I'm not mad at them for firing them because it is what it is. I'm used to seeing brothers like him get fired for doing things like this or being in roles like where he's in shows and stuff like that. You know, anything where it put us in a light of being in the ruling class is always gonna get canceled or it won't last long. You know what I mean? The only show in the history, the only black show in the history of TV that lasted long was the Cosby Show. Since then, a black show, whether it puts us in a bad light or a good light, don't last long. I'm quite surprised to see Blackish last as long as it has. But like again, I don't want to digress. But like I said, these are my thoughts on Orlando Jones being fired, man. You know what I'm saying? We gotta remember who we dealing with. We dealing with an enemy even bigger than those who run Hollywood. You understand what I'm saying? So these people work on a different thinking pattern and a different mind frame. A lot of people talk about conspiracy theories and things of that nature, but man, everything ain't a conspiracy. Sometimes it's just truth. Sometimes what people don't want to be truth, they consider it to be a conspiracy because they know in their hearts and in their minds that it is true. Can it always be proven? No. Is it sometimes proven? Yes. Sometimes it's right there in your face for you to see it, yet you still want to be in denial. So, excuse me. I'm sorry, man. I'm tired. But, man, I hate that I'm yawning and man, y'all gotta forgive me. I gotta wake up. But, yeah, man, I mean, it just is what it is when it comes to that. And I really feel like it's a win for him. He's gonna move on and do bigger things. A lot of people try to relate his situation and Gabrielle Union's situation the same. I don't know if that's true. Not to be what they call it. Not to try to be discriminatory or whatever, or discriminate against anybody, but when it comes to certain aspects in life, men and women are treated different, especially black men. And even though sometimes black women are still victims of discrimination and things of that nature, but you know, understanding that right now we living in a society where they're trying to put the women over men in all aspects. Not even just over black men, but over men in all aspects. That's why we have a new feminist movement. So I can't really see his situation and her situation being the same, because they definitely don't want a black man on TV uplifting other black people in a position of power, like playing a god, when we know that in different societies like the Egyptian society and things of that nature, there were black gods in representation of those black people for them to follow. So it's crazy that we are in a time that we are in and we're focusing on something like this, and this is news, but it should not be surprising news. It's right up, it's right on time, to be honest. I knew after seeing those two speeches from him on that show that it wasn't going to pretty much be what we thought it was going to be. Eventually he was going to get the boot, period.